we're gonna start. I'm gonna call this meeting in order at 5 p.m. please. The Port of Johnstown Management Committee meeting, May 23rd, 2023. We're having a closed session meeting at the port. I need to approve the agenda if amended. I'm going to amend the agenda if I may. I need a first and a second on it. Number 9, discussion item. I'd like to remove it and have it information only. And have a full report by our general manager and operation manager in June. Okay, so that's number 9, and that's on the shrinkage.
Shrinkage? Okay.
Yeah, number 9. So do I need a mover? Moved by Mr. Smell, second by Mr. Ward. All in favor? Carried. We're now going in the in-camera session. And I need a mover. Oh, no, yes. No, sorry. Any disclosure or paternity interest and general nature thereof. None? None here. Number 4, we're going in the in-camera session.
I have that motion.
Mr. Ward, you have that motion?
Yep, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Waddy Smale. The committee proceeds into closed session at 5:00 p.m. in order to address a matter pertaining to section 239 3.1 education or training session, specifically port committee orientation tour.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. This is a meeting to have our committee members have a better understanding of the day-to-day operation at the port. So all in favor? Carried. We're now in close. Ready? Gonna report. Make that motion, please, Waddy.
Make a motion.
Read the motion.
Oh, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Chris Ward that the closed meeting of committee does now adjourn and the open meeting does now resume at 6:04 p.m.
All in favor? Carried. Report out of closed session. We have our mayor who joined us 5 minutes late in the open session. He's here now. We're gonna have a short recess. And follow that, we'll relocate. Our closed session was the port committee orientation of the tour of the port. Thank you.
You have a nice breeze, don't you? You don't get breeze, or you know.
Well, I guess the fans would be the enemy to have up there as well, so they wouldn't have big fans or anything. I didn't see any. I didn't think about it until we had this conversation now, mind you, but
Well, we have dust suckers.
yeah.
The old system needs to be upgraded seriously. We brought that up, so we have to go get a license and everything, those bikes. Good, I like to see the other one, split off and see the family and the because I think that would help a lot. But that's,
Come on, you worked there, Steve.
33 years.
Just 33 years, huh?
Just started. From this week, I was in the 33 years.
Really? Congratulations, yeah.
But I moved there. But if you're doing from day, I worked actually for college. But they were only. And then, well, they were doing a bag of bags and rail cars. You don't need to know that more.
Because that's gotta be a fun job, man.
Oh, backbreakers.
Gotta be almost as good as sandbagging against water, you know?
I had my shoulder just starting to come around. And I found it, the annual appropriator doing for having a fight. Perfectly. Trying to hold up one hand, but both ends in the other, and probably the idea of have other ones in the floor. One day older.
It's sort of hard to deal too, I 20 years ago, I fell on the ice and went down this shoulder here. It took me the better part of a decade before I could do this proud. So,
Turbo seats, I didn't know about that. Guys. Really just did it for me, so it's so nice.
Yeah, this is staff.
I'm Sean.
Say anything about this whole delegation.
Discussing relocating. Community center, down here. This is to see the group. So give you that and bring it. Give up one head.
Come sponsor me here.
Sure, I do, really, it's about a mile.
Yeah, $100 a mile. I'm out of closed sessions. I'm not doing this stuff.
We're going in.
We are, we've done 5, yeah.
7 to 6.
We have none. We have none. I mean, 7 is this one here.
Just 7 just to do this.
Well, this is the difference. This is 15. Okay.
Yes, yeah. That's an active question.
Take a side.
It depends on the. Sometimes we. Yeah. It's gonna say, you know, we're in Johnstown, right?
I leave peace and
Yeah.
all night. Every night. Anybody wants more of my bacon?
Rebecca got it.
No.
Yeah.
So I'll figure out.
Have a second the other day. Rebecca.
I'm sorry, we did that.
That's okay.
How did you get the address? I'll try to.
It just makes me, when it's like, I'm the crazy debate on this stuff.
Thank you, Bruce.
That's not, I'm Joe Brother, yeah. That's all, John. I remember. And John, you're done taking your. Oh, yeah, that's very good. So you don't want to join me by the Zoom? That's.
Same with Randy, you gotta do something. You didn't lose your glasses on top of your head. You're like a walking billboard there.
Getting banned.
You get the cookies out of the whole yard.
That's all, you guys are upstairs, and Robert and I were downstairs working. Well, that's good. Must have been one place, must have been. Ah.
I think Robert might have pushed it over.
I don't know.
But, you know, we use your game. You know that.
Rebecca? I know. And all they did that.
They're running. Sometimes I have to here and have passport. But sometimes I have.
Hey?
Ready? Got it done. It's actually.
And all day. Ready, Rebecca? Okay. We're going to resume this meeting now. After a short recess and then the location from the Port of Johnstown to the South Eversbury Community Center. At 6:40 p.m. Move on to our next piece of business, delegation and presentations. We have none. I need minutes of the previous Port of Johnstown committee meeting on April 17th. Need a move in a second. Moved by Mr. Ward, second by Mr. Snell. Before we call the question, I'd just like to report that the minutes of the previous Port of Johnstown minutes. On April 17th, we welcome our CEO, Mr. Dave Grant, and our treasurer, Mr. Sean Nicholson. There are two additional township staff members that will be present for our future Port of Johnstown management meetings. So thank you and welcome aboard. All in favor? Carried. Next is business arising from the previous Port Management Committee minutes. Is there any? Errors, omissions, changes? No? Number 9, we already made that, the amendment, going from a decision to just information. So move on to number 10, action and information items. 10A, grain operation report. I'm not sure who's going to speak, Mike and Kevin or both.
This meeting,
Okay,
so I think for all of them.
good. Take it away, Mike. All right, thank you.
Thank you. So the overall grain inventory at the end of April was 42,528 metric tons. It was lower than the previous month, mainly due to the corn shipments in April. The traffic for April received 8,483 metric tons of grain via truck. And we shipped a total of 41,468 metric tons of grain in the month. 36,209 by vessel and 5259 by truck. We loaded 2 vessels in April. The port also shipped corn to the Greenfield on Easter weekend. Another thing that we did in April was we had a GMP surveillance audit, which we retained. So for 2023, to date, we have no injuries, no recordables, no near misses. The labor report, current year, or for the month, we had 5,262 hours. For the year, 10,830, which is more, certainly more than the previous year, the month of 2000, and 7,962 for the year. Does anybody want any more than that, or do you want me to spend all the hours up? But I think you've seen that we have the hours this year. Have the opportunity to hire this on needs, which is probably advantageous to us. Our intent was to keep everyone to get caught up on our cleaning. We had a bunch of devices, we did get some things that were disrepair. But we were just busy. We're flat out, we did twice as many inbound and twice as much inbound until this month. So we've been extremely busy with work. No interest, Kevin and I were talking on Friday. Last year, we took in 78,000 tons of corn in the fall, and we've already taken in 62 this year. So it's interesting. For the quality reports, we just had another inspection done, and we were rated in A.
Thanks, Mike. Any questions, comments from the committee? I'm not gonna start left and right. I just want to know if someone has a question.
Well, I had a question about the labor, but I think we did a good job answering it, so okay, it's fine. So thanks.
Good. Anyone else? Nothing? Very good. We'll move on to 10B. Maintenance report. I think Jeff, you're gonna do the maintenance report. Go ahead, sir.
We're doing a series during the month include the following, we cover the month of premise inspection, that's the requirements. Installed new aerator in T23, 223 been a problem child, but it's us. That is within the all. It's running the recording, what was involved with. And things, replacing everything, it can be. Take 3 days to do one, or it could be take 1 night. Everything is very, we're going to do 2021, 224, 25, and so. You know, the total cut is nice so far, which is pretty good. Install new laying on the southern conveyor drive pulley, and we shorten the conveyor belt itself. We're looking for a little lagging is maybe the rubber tread is on a hole that drive the belt. We installed 4 new bearings in truck pull, train handle check during vessel loading and procedure. Place other broken windows through the elevator, prepare lawnmower leader for the season. Well, we would not be just inspections and maintenance. The electric area, remove some of the concern board from the daytime monitoring system. We send it there for a firmware update, it will be installed when they return and send it some more. Replace the outdoor power with the heating board and constant return home. This gave us like wondering whether it was good mining. Notice that we will be mining to fire money. Repaired for the legs and shipboard booms. Because number fully rated 120 technical for the elevator. They repaired the bird area lighting along with fixtures as an ongoing project. Remove all of that cables. Instead of exterior the elevators that were formerly used in the previous shipboard systems. For contractors, we addition on the Ontario Railways, we modified orders of number 5 and number 7 today. Now some of the work you guys need today. That's sort of the highlights of the month.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? I just have one more of information. What's our, we sent 7 circuit boards out, we're gonna send another 7. What's the total?
There's the 25 total.
Oh, 25 total. Now, do we keep any on like a spares to come up?
No, we don't. We're not firmware with dating, so we have to send them how to update the current firmware.
Okay, so I just assumed we were sending 7 at a time because we had 7 spares or something, so it's.
We send them as we replace them with the upgraded ones, we send them, we took it, we send those for update.
So at any given time, we're down 7 they're not working because we don't have.
No.
Oh, okay.
We had spares to begin with, that were updated.
That's fine. Okay. Good job, thanks.
Any other questions, comments? No. Okay, moving on. It's gonna be 10C, capital project report, and I do believe, Kevin, you're gonna take this one.
Training program review has been awarded while the back having before this evening. But kind of all very fair with the kind of votes. And the garage or the look at both of our we're for the district training, I guess RFP is being completed. The warehouse, we have actually for this evening, the land development. Reno waterfront is still in the second phase. Dredging the permit application is complete. And now it's on that for bid. Traction of the city area still working on the engineering work. We're running some issues with the concrete with the support. It's kind of a chicken and egg right now. The building inside support from need the loads from the building, but the building guys are going to use the loads to get the purchase order. So we're going to have to make the loads from the building are going to keep the concrete work. And the ground's very soupy of the tour. There's low elevator sits on wooden piles. And we're going down on land of the city area. We're down 35 feet before we get up to the solid. You know, there's about 47 and going to do that. Having to build that as their conference work. That system where collection groups are finished, but I think to build and expand our system. Transfer shoot, that's the work of the COVID management report that was now complete. Yeah, not just the invoice yet. Generator repair, preparing scope and getting ready for an RFP. Exterior covering the elevator, stay on the 3rd floor. And I guess the boats on at the moment. The elevator, the business basement valves, they're asking payment $1,000, basically a progress payment on the panel. And our national consideration as well. Electrical meters, that RFP flows last week. Most of the review. The replacement Bobcat is preparing RFP for the scope and spec that we need. Rails on the design, but probably this year. Range orders, not getting word back on the government on the ACT funding. In reality, we get the funding now, the dryer probably not in place for harvest this year. The guys are installing 6 of them off our books, so probably very, very late in the fall, early year before they're going to be available. That's the reality of that. There are the applicators, still in review, so there's a lot of details to go about the drainage commission, you have to get a license, and you have to track and monitor the amount going on, so we're still looking at that on the details. Next project, the scale to then since the one is complete, we'll finish up last week as well, and again, Jeff mentioned that. Place of the areas, again, Jeff on our what the areas we work on and places, so that is, we have some additional parts for the area already, but we're continuing. We'll continue on, so the harvest service, yeah. Parts of the elevator, they have arrived, they're on site, they're just getting them, we got the areas in control. The board made a change from the second drag conveyor, that was previously under review. Going ahead with the seating area this year, with the ready on. So we're gonna learn to change the drag conveyors. I'm expecting for the guys. New order, it's on order, it's supposed to be delivered this month, still waiting. The board of parks and the area control and then the light line is also supposed to be in the month of May, May is getting short. It's still going to be here before the end of the month. That's where we're at today.
Any questions, comments on our capital budget? We have three, I guess, tonight, action items. So go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Just a quick question, maybe it's a maintenance question. For the Walker Lake, for the bucket replacements, are they, the number that's going to allocate and set aside for that? Is that just for individual buckets, or is that for a belt that's got the buckets already placed on it? It's complete change, or I'm just wondering what the protocol is. Just the buckets. Just the buckets, so it's a one for one swap out. Okay. So the Walker Lake must be overall. I mean, I know that number's pretty low. I was just going back in time. I recall that there were analysis done in the past with somebody else, and it was replaced the whole. I mean, most people do replace the whole belt with only buckets in one shot as opposed to individual repairs. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, we've done the whole that.
Okay.
This one happens to be the belt was examined and it's still in the shape. The bucket ran, we've had a bunch of buckets break, so we're going to replace the rest of it.
Thank you.
So,
Yep, so on the truck shed, so I think I heard you saying, so I guess I'm worried, are we ready on runway to get that done this year, do you think, if we, or where are we looking at that? Is it happening in 2023 or is it next
you
year?
know, it's going to be 2024, over to this point. I was getting extremely tight to get a contract in there with, pushing it and do it for file. It was going to interfere with harvest, and it was kind of interfere with harvest. Not anything like at all, so we basically deferred this, we're gonna take our time with the engineering square away. And early 2024 is kind of the projected start time.
And would they do that in the wind, like in the Q1 next year sort of thing, or is it too cold for that to happen?
Well, the first, I think the key one.
It's for Q1?
And then again, it depends on the business, but this year we had 60,000 tons of rain in there in the first 3 months, which we hadn't expected. So we may have to defer again, this delay, if we have people that want to do it.
Okay, fair enough. And then on the new grain dryer, so if we suddenly got the you know, I think you said that was going to be looking like it's going to be late this year, early next year as well, potentially depending on what work there. There is do we know if there's going to be a time limit on that funding? Or sometimes government does that. They say you have to spend it this year or something like that. Is there anything like that we know of here?
No, I think they give you the timeline. I think our way to the we had originally we made the application, we said we were going to do it this year. We sounds like a little bit of impact on that. And those guys have pushed that paper upward. They really, I guess, the end of 2025, I believe. But the details of that will actually come at the end of the year.
Fair enough. Yeah, it just was you know, there's just hoping it wasn't a 2023 or bust kind of thing. So okay. Sounds good. That's all I got. Anything else?
Anything here? Just go ahead.
Yeah, my question is in regard to the budget number for the bin valves. I'm sorry, the bin valve, so it's in the capital project as 600K in budget. And then today, later on, we see it's 400K for the electrical work and the motors. Is there much more budget wise? Like, is the 600K gonna cover the project?
No, so it's not gonna cover the project, price and how much it does, since we got a. And that was the actual discussion, with the academic as well, but it was higher on the spec.
So what, if I may through the chair, well, what, so 600K is not gonna cover it. We're gonna approve 397 or whatever it is tonight. What's left?
What was the total amount was about?
Give
It's
us,
up by, I don't think you got to buy the actual motors, your boxes, but then on those valves. We take those windows off, we're in the basement, and more than your box slides on that, so we have to still have to buy those. And the original budget on that, there was about 250K, we pulled it back, we went to source of the price for ourselves, we found a local guy to install. We got it down to 100K, so here's from up 150K off that, that's why I proposed it. So the mechanical you have to do. Be another.
just the total.
And then the total budget of 80.
So 280.
I'm sorry,
What was assessment spent?
880 for the total, and we have 600 in it?
So if I could just add, Chair,
Yes,
to that, there's a line that I added at the bottom. That we're going to be updating the budget numbers and what we're going to need this year and what will be carried over, because we had the GIC coming due in July, so we have to meet to talk about our investments, the June meeting. So we'll have that as well, demonstrating to show the maybe how much money will be available for investments and so on. And in order to determine that, we need to know how much we're going to spend this year and how much we do the next year. So you'll be seeing that at the next meeting, a revised budget amount that we factor in on spending this year. Will include that.
So, and then I'll just further on that. So the trash bed, right? So that one's gonna be put off till next, at earliest next year, and then we don't know about the dryer. So that's total of 6.3 million right there. That we pushed off just without any of the other projects.
We still have lots of engineering to do with the recipient area, we want people to be sure, we want to have, I have some shovel ready for the one next year. That would be, not have to be. $1,000.
$6 million pushed. Okay.
any other questions, comments? Capital budget, okay. We're gonna go to the financial report. Rhonda or Robin? Rhonda? Good girl.
Court finished the month with revenues of 487,000, which is slightly lower than April of last year. By 11,000, another budget by 37, mainly due to the lower grain storage revenues. Fortunately, our harbor services were able to make up most of this with an increase of 33,000. Expenses were 434,000 for the month, which is an increase over 80,000 over last year. Some of the reasoning and municipal allocations, that's 17,000 employee labor, sorry, 34,000. Fuel and electricity, 22,000. It's important to keep in mind the monthly results are influenced by the timing of the vessels delivering salt for shipping of grain. Our year-to-date revenue numbers still remain strong above 2022. Our harvest services are up 250,000, grain services are up 100, and oil services are up 110. Our year-to-date surplus is still trending above budget and last year's results. Our management fees up to April 30th have been transferred to 333,233. Our receivables are at 451, and all outstanding invoices are 30 days and under. Payables are 174.7, and cash on hand is at 7.1.
Any questions, comments? Question, comment? On the financial report? No? Very good. Move on to Penny vessel traffic report, Robert.
Thank you very much. So our vessel harbor terminal in Oregon, and so far this year, with 57,349 grain that is exported from the port, 4 and 5 vessels. Salt, we received 121,000 domestic. And you can see compared to last year, it's quite an increase. However, that tends to level out. So you end up at the end of the year with the same amount. That's what I mean by our numbers. You look at monthly and not quarterly statements. It really varies depending on when the ships do arrive. Our no aggregate to speak of this year yet. And liquid bulk, and they're planning on putting in liner in their tank. That's port, the calcium chloride tank. So that's been delaying any calcium chloride received port. Great bulk, that's the steel. We can see it 2,120 tons. So for a total of 180,000 compared to 58,000 last year. There were 11 ships of earth, 7 domestic, 4 foreign. And just with a quick commentary, we had 5 ships in April, including bringing in the steel from Argentina. We also had 2 ships unloading road salt and 2 grain ships picking up corn in the UK. We included the 5 arrivals. During the 5 arrivals, we were to do 4 and 5 vessels, as I mentioned, and just the names of the vessels and the product of vessels. Currently, we have 4 vessels scheduled to deliver salt in May, and we just had 2 just short the last week. That's the traffic report.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Go ahead, Mr.
I have a quick question. Calcium chloride, liquid calcium chloride tank?
Yes.
I'm curious, where's that located for?
Right when you take in the main gates.
Yep.
It's on the right side. It's just above over the ground about 8 feet.
Okay.
Did you notice that concrete tank?
Yes, I've seen the dome.
It's right by the highway. So you can't.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments?
Actually, sorry, I had one going a bit back just on the April monthly expenses chart. The utilities are 50% higher than last year's. I look at it, and do we know what's happened to cause that to go up by the way, or is it?
One of the big factors in it is, and Jeff might be able to speak to this, is the Enbridge.
Yes.
And I think the gas meter, or gas meter in the service, as it works since the end of March. I've been chasing Enbridge basically weekly, and I keep getting this from what you hear and we get. So what they're doing is estimating all the bills that we have. They always estimate.
So there goes a big check.
And that's needed still saying.
Okay, no, that's fair. So it'll
We're expecting.
yeah, fair. Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's move on to 10F, health and safety. I do believe Mike, gonna take it?
So this is from John Gu, prevention rate solution, work he did for this year. That was on he got thought, the regarding some safety concerns that were brought up during their HPP risk assessment. The concern about truck drivers getting out of their trucks to go to the track head to get paperwork, so we looked at the problem and some solutions. We'll do some things right now, but certainly I think when we do our project that we do the traction, we'll address more of them. We spent some time with John this month, all of us looking at our safety program, what we need to do and what we need to finish for this year, upgrades to the hazard prevention program. There's some regulatory changes that we need to change some of the procedures on space entry. And certainly do some training, so we can do some of that things. One of the reasons that the two that we try to keep the guys on board this year is to pick up on some of the training that we that's become out of date, mostly due to COVID. But the seasonal work, we're behind on a lot of things, so we've been trying to get John into to get us back up to speed on, you know, our women's or HVP, and we've got St. John Ambulance and speak together, but who's certified, so we've been trying to get our safety training back up as well. So he's been working on that. And he's been going over some of the policies to make sure that we're up to speed and up to standard, including the some review program. So
Thank you. Questions, comments? Okay. Rebecca, can I go from 10A to 10F and approve them? And I'd like to go from G to J. And then the last, the audit and financial statement. To approve.
Chair, so clarification, you're looking to receive and review 10A, 10F, and 10G, H, I, J are all separate.
Yes.
And then, okay, you're looking to go G to K and do them in reverse order?
Looking to approve from A to F right now.
Yes, you're able to review them.
Can I approve them now?
There's no need to approve.
There's no need?
Information. You can even review that as the.
Very good, then. Good. Okay, so then we'll carry on to our GM report, Robin.
Mr. Chair, we had a meeting with I'm sorry.
I think it's one of the.
Do you still need a motion to receive?
well, yeah, through the chair, if you're looking to see and review those items, then yes,
Okay, yeah,
it would be appropriate to have a
Okay.
motion.
good. So can I have a mover to receive these? Oh, second it. All in favor? Good, thanks. GM report, Robert?
Met with Kayla Sunday, she's the environmental service manager, from the council, Mohawk Council out of Sophia, along with Curtis Brewer, their environmental officer. The board is asking for their advice in regard to vegetation for erosion control and beautification of towards boardwalk and site of scenic platform. On May 12th, members of the Kayla team returned to Florida. So on. And those will be providing for the proposal to the ongoing efforts to continue our relationship with the Mohawk Council. After Sophia. Attended the team's meeting with PA Hardy Bruel and TO on April 20th. Stephen Clark, attended by our mayor, Tori Vigil, and the Mayor Gilball. We discussed the 4 priorities and challenges, various topics we discussed, including the force challenges with the lack of availability of natural gas, expanded main driving capacity, as well as concerns over the pending changes from the Ministry of the Environment pertaining to our salt operations. PA Burrell explained that they are strong supporters of our reports and will be helping them with their ongoing challenges. Port GM responded to the MTO, 2 MTO staff who were inquiring about our concerns with MECP and our salt operations. So they definitely made some inquiries on our behalf. And so we clarified that our concerns are present. It's the pending guidelines that we've been told that are coming on the surface water limits that can go into the river. So I brought them up to speed on that to make sure that there was some confusion as I thought there was current regulations that we were having issues with. But these are any regulated guidelines that are coming forth in the future that we've been told by the enforcement officer in the last inspection. Capital projects never went through those tonight. This is just some of the work I was doing on that. Attended the collective bargaining on May 9th and May 10th. We'll be having a family discussion tonight to discuss. Participated in our cleanup organized by Greenfield and along with Stephanie McKinney. Deputy Mayor Gilmore, we all went out and picked up some garbage and everyone for the kitchen. Met with the Canadian Drain Commission Program Manager of the station and sanitation industrial services. And board staff and discussed challenges and future collaboration for us in our agreement. And just to mention that we are a main sponsor for the upcoming Sunshine Mill coming up on June 10th. That's my report.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, people?
Through the chair, so when you were talking with MECP about the salt operations, did they give you any insight as to what did any, do we know where that's going at the point in time? I know we've had that conversation in the past.
Well, the original inspection included sort of a heads up that the guidelines will be changing, which will necessitate an amendment to our current ECA. An ECA, by the way, that was included by the Ministry of the Environment, along with its all in the plan and building the retention pond to collect the stormwater and limit the impact to the river, the trickle out instead of all going to the river. So basically during the inspection, I said we would have months, and then and we talked about this last meeting that we rejected that sort of report. We reissued the report and we rated asked for pre-consultation. So then the pre-consultation, whenever that happens, it's supposed to happen in the next little while. At the end of that consultation period, then 6 months, and led to believe or was told that that would kick in and have 6 months from that date to amend our ECA. So that's basically where it's at right now.
So we're not talking about, or we don't think we're talking about, $1 billion to do any corrective work around here.
Well, if you really want to do what MECP would like everyone to do and have covered buildings, we would be talking those dollars. Because that's the perfect solution is to have everything covered, including your operations and your loading trucks, because you've ever been to the port, you'll see the pile, you'll see a lot of salt around where the trucks come in, the front loaders are loading them and so on. They even want that and stuff. I know the city of Ottawa building storage shelters where they don't have as much salt in there, the water for trying to store. We have agreements right now to store 240,000 metric tons of salt. Now that usually happens at the end of the year. Usually we're transferring and they're loading across the street, and then we take the salt at the end of that. Once they're full across the street. So in order to store 240,000 tons of salt, we need some man buildings, and there's no way we'd build those on our docks. So that's basically there's other things to look at, but that's really what they would like to see, right? Is everything covered. So it's not practical, it's not economical. And so I think the connection that we've been making now with NCO, because that's the other government that uses the salt, Ministry of Transportation, and you have a government entity over here, MECP is saying the guy is too high. What's interesting is that as soon as the first snowfall comes and we start loading salt all over the place, right? Put it on all the roads everywhere. So this whole thing would be, I guess, it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. I get it, but nobody really wants to use something that could be harmful into our waters. We're all environmentally friendly and we want to do the best, but it's saving lives on our highways. So that's sort of the quandary that we have there is, then two entities sort of not talking to each other. What's practical? It's not really practical. And my big concern was, why don't they want to have guidelines of all the Ontario reports on the same line, right? At the same basis. That makes sense, right? So that you at least the government's been asking for numbers. But what I think they failed to do is get all the reports together and get sort of get everybody's insight. How can you do this? It's one thing to say to do it and sit in an office and come up with numbers, but where did you get the numbers and how are we supposed to achieve this? There's no solutions for that. Right, other than I mentioned the extreme covering everything, it can't be done in any reports. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm hoping in the pre-consultation, there'll be some conversation and get some other reports involved. And maybe as a group, we can, forward with, something in the middle, that works for everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions here? I have, when we're on that subject, Robert, have we talked to other ports that bring in salt?
I've talked to, Kingston, our largest technical group that we use in the vault, they operate as a trial dock. So I'm talking to them,
Right.
they control the salt there. And everyone's going to have issues with this, there's nobody that has covered storage for the salt on. You know, at the ports, right now.
Thank you. Can I have a mover, to accept the GM report, please? Moved by Mr. Ward, second by Mr. Martel. All in favor? Carried. Okay. H, land development, Port of Johnstown warehouse. We call it grubbing project. All right, Rob. Oh, clear cutting, but
Yeah, it's grabbing is more than you get the roof so. My engineer used that word and that's what the tender, when that adds, something you want to change, it, you know. Probably would, might sound a little better saying. So this is the purpose of this action items toward the contract, with clearing approximately 22 acres. A little bit of a background. We purchased a lot of people know it as the old Prescott Machining and Molding property. Some people know it as the old BDL property. Anyways, we purchased that. And we did this primarily to add additional laydown area for various cargoes that are received and shipped out of the port. In 2022, we allocated $850,000 in the budget for building renovations, including replacing the steel roof, various repairs, including the upper warehouse building windows. At the end of 2022, there remained $355,950, and that was carried over into the 2023 budget for the completion of the renovations, which included repairing those top windows. As you recall, we did have a price, and we decided to instead of replacing the windows, having them siding, which saved us quite a substantial amount of money. And so that took place at the beginning of 2023. The rest of it was to be used for the development of the lands. So the port is hiring the services of South Asian Conservation to do preliminary screening of the area. And in order to avoid any, we want to avoid any issues for the Migratory Bird Act and the so that means the project won't begin until August 28th. After that date where we have to watch for some of the conditions in that act. So the scope of work, phase one includes the clearing and grubbing of approximately 22 acres of land and the attached sketch of the project area. And township, if you recall, so what followed, the items over $50,000 must be approved by the department committee. There was a total of $355,950 that was carried over, which $50,480 is spent to complete the building renovations. This is remaining budget $305,470 for the DOJ warehouse revenue project. 3 bids were received. All prices are included in HST. So on to the recommendations, for management committee approves the award of the contract for project 334 DOJ work starting in the amount of $248,500. Excuse me, that should say $530. With a contingency of 15% HST to RW Thompson Limited. So that number again is $248,530. But the port general manager may return to execute the contract on behalf of the port does.
any comments? Please go ahead, Mr. McCollum.
We have previous experience with Tomlinson, largely with the dock. Experience okay in terms of on time, on budget?
Yeah, they're a very good company to deal with. Now, what they're doing is just subbing to Barry Coots, who does this work, and originally got pulled off Barry last year on the project. And so they are subbing it. And I have not worked with Barry Coots before. I know that I've been given recommendations for him, and that that's the big equipment, everything to do with this project. But the responsibility falls on Tomlinson and not had any issues with comments, and they've been trying to get the project for several years, but not getting any of the bid, have always been higher, and the last 3, I think, that I worked on, or working on all of this.
Thank you. Yeah, sorry, but so, do we have plans for this property in next year sort of thing? Or we're gonna clear it this year and then maintain it for a while, or?
Well, we're going to clear it. The next phase would be to, take the top, bulldoze the top off, add stone and, pack that down, and that's the next phase of the project. Before we do that, we have to do some surveying and we have to have a drainage plan and so on. This is just the first part of the project.
So a few years out probably before.
Yes.
So, I mean, just see what I've seen. I just was actually driving by Chemfield today and I noticed how that forest that they took down is all grown up again. So we'll just be maintaining it, keeping it bush hogged or something for the next few years until we do that.
I mean, you know, I'm okay, and when you look at the budget that we presented, the capital budget, there was money for next year, so we continue with it. We'll have to see the engineering part of the environmental part of it to get that all taken care of, and hopefully. Because we have to do with different agencies on that, before we're able to put stone down and do the record, so it's. No more, when we bring our budget into 2024.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. the Chair. So the, in excuse me, the picture, the project area, the blue outline, that's the 22 acres.
Right.
Yeah, and so the red area behind that is,
That's ours as well.
that's ours as well. Why not there at all?
Well, it just, the amount that was there, I mean, we can certainly do that if it's something that there's the front area too, but it's this way, then you have to make sure you keep that, which and it will start growing, so there wasn't really any intention to put stone on all that area and get that's 22 acres, that's gonna take several years, so potentially that can all be grown back, whatever you do. So that was a thinking. But we certainly can, that's something we want to look at doing.
Now, is that 6.2 acres, Robert? Right, see,
Sorry,
is that 6.2 acres that we're not touching?
yes,
Pardon?
approximately, yes.
Okay, so it's only 6 acres.
Yeah, plus the 3 in front, lower right. That we're not touching, there's not a lot of trees there, there's not a lot of. It's pretty clear now, actually. But you can see it in the picture below the blue, that's 3 acres there. That's not in this project.
So about 12 acres, I guess, total, right?
Well, 6.2 and
5.35.
yeah. No, there is,
And area 7 is where the building is.
it's about, see, the area of these, 2.5 acres. 2 acres.
I'm sorry,
It's around 2 acres, that area of 3.
Okay.
Just gonna the square.
area 3 is about 2 acres.
Yeah, 15,000 square meters.
Yeah.
and Side is 23,000, and that's 5.78, so.
So why not do it all?
You wanna do it all, we can do it all. Everybody.
Well, I mean,
All I'm saying is that once you do it, we're not putting stone on 30 acres of land. It would cost us millions of dollars, and it's gonna take time to do that, but when we do it, it's the business funds, the plan is to. Perhaps next year do 5 acres, and then add another 5 acres after that. I even thought 22 was a lot, but. It made sense that, you know, we're putting these together and gonna make the price once the year. We can do the whole thing. We do it.
well, that's a discussion for committee for sure. The only thing is we would have to go and get another, send it out. Get re-tendered.
No, we have a low tender, we would give the job to them and then we talk to them about changing the amount.
discussion? Committee, do we do it all? Do we have a price?
This happens, so this will happen sometimes in paving, you'll get a good price, they're here, they're mobilized, you want to make the second a little bigger. On the dock, for example, and you have more money in the budget for that, you can alter the. Do another what you want to do. I just know there'll be a lot of growth, by the time we get to that back 6 acres, it's probably gonna be 5 years from now, and it'll all be grown up again. So.
What if we can keep it clear? I mean,
There's an expense to that. Keeping 6 acres clear.
I mean, Hydro does it with just some of their lines. I know they did my son, a big squat. I mean, it's like a parking lot now. It was, you couldn't walk through it. And if you keep it there.
I do it every year for about a can of diesel or so in my tractor. Not saying I'll do that, but I'm just saying it can do it. But that's it. I don't have any staff. It's myself.
There's much on the 6 acres, and
Go ahead, Mr. Sorry.
there's not much on the 6 acres anyway.
Well, that's an old picture, it's really no picture, so there's more than what you see,
Okay.
but it's not as heavily dense as the area before.
Well, it's up for discussion. Do we maybe have them accept this and then have them go back, have Robert go back and ask what the difference is on this 6 and 8 acres? Go ahead, Mr. Chair, this,
So. So do we, is there a business, like, is there a business plan for the 22 acres as it is? Or is it just cleared up?
We have business slated for that area, and no, this is for future growth. We found that when we were doing the steel pipe, and that came in with the 2009, we had we had nowhere to put any further.
So,
So we did the same thing with the 5 or 6 acres that's there now, and we didn't have a business ready to go
Yeah.
there, and then a wind park came. And you know, like this. So it's needed.
for sure. But so, if I can, so when you did the west part, there's like. You would have done a drainage plan, was there an environmental impact or anything like that that was needed to be done to?
No, we didn't have any environmental issues or anything like that.
Are the costs of that relatable to this cell, or are they relevant?
We only had one tree on the whole. We had
I forget what it's like,
one or 2 trees in the house,
right,
right? So there's some costs there.
but you still had to gravel it, still had to.
Yes, it was very expensive, but some of the gravel from that, you just.
Yeah.
Top of my head,
I'm curious.
300,000.
how much, sir?
300,000. To do around 5 acres.
It's 5, so 1.2 for 20 at those costs.
And, yeah, that was very well, we do that, so what are the costs now? That's what we're looking to, and very forward to.
Well, I'm looking for direction from the committee. Do we accept the 248, 503 and have Mr. Daly ask what it's gonna be for the other 8 acres? Come back in June. Sorry, let's go ahead, Mr. Smith. Thank you.
So I'm gonna miss something here. So the plan is to clear it and then gravel the entire.
Not the, well, section at a time.
Okay.
So we're not going to need 20 acres of, like, just to put that in perspective, that whole steel area is 8 acres, that's. Where the port stays, where the rail is, where the calcium tank is, that, call it up, it's 1.
Yeah.
And then further west past the road is up, it's 2, that's about 8.5 acres there. So my intention was to clear this and then do 5 acres for next year. Find out what that is. Now we gained 5 acres and that's a sizable area. Right, and then when the business develops and we generate revenues from that, and we go to the next, we go to the next, and the next. When I had the company here last year, the price, and we didn't think that was a good idea to do 5 acres at a time. We were spending a lot more money, we have to mobilize and so on, we'd rather get there and do it. That's why I expanded it is instead of 5 acre sections, I split it in 5 acre sections, but then let's do the floor of the clearing. And then we'll start doing the 5 at a time on the stuff.
And we have no There's currently no prospective alliance for those areas.
None.
Are we even trying to pursue somebody for those areas or?
I'm not trying to, like, that area is, that's what's coming in the laydown area for wind turbines, for project kernels, take a lot of space for steel beams, for all of that.
So it's just,
I mean, it's, I mean, if you look at Valley Field, what they're doing the exact same thing. They don't necessarily have the business yet. I mean, some of this is build it, come, I know you hear say that, but you hear that, and like, that's what happens. And that's what happened to the 8 acres that we developed. We made probably close to $2 million off that in a number of years from leasing it out and so on.
so do we have,
So they have areas like, so when the cargo comes in, you get the wharfage. But then you also get storage fees. So that area, I'm sorry.
so do we have to fence it right away?
If they're going to use it, we would have to fix.
Or should we be building that into the cost?
Well, that's not part of this. We're not
I know
mentioning
that,
but that going forward in the budget going forward, we would be looking at that as well. And that's the same with what we did in the West Atlas, we want to talk about the money that was there, that's some of that expense as well. Part along the highway was already there, yeah. So we're going to speak.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I certainly support the Grubber project and getting investment land ready. For use, for sure, like I support the idea of this, I just think, from a planning perspective, maybe I'd like to know what we're planning for the future a little more. What exactly we're looking at, what the costs of, what it's going to be year to date. I mean, cleaning it out is one thing, but there's lots of discussion around the table of maintenance costs, how long it's going to be for 5-6 years. Like, definitely, if it's not ready, then we had a discussion with Greywall about, lots of potential business that could possibly come. But I mean, we need to know what the costs of that investment would be into that land as well, I think. So this is the initial one. I certainly support getting this grubbed out and ready. If we don't do that, we're not going to be in a position to even move forward on those projects. But I think from my diligence standpoint, I need a little more info, a little more of what are we looking at for costs for long term? How much is the entire project going to be? What kind of business cases they're behind for the future?
Yeah, and exactly, I think that's something that we talked about, that'll be a future budget, and I hope we talk about what to do with that. I'm okay with the clearing of it as well, I think. One thing I was wondering is, I know we've talked a bit about the access to that back area there. And then you mentioned, wind turbines and things, and I can see those trucks and stuff, and I almost worry that there's a bit of a safety on how you work around the building itself. When I look at the Google map, which I'm sure is still accurate, but the building hasn't moved, I'm assuming, right? So, I do wonder if we should not be clearing a better more direct route, to the road, at that same point in time though. I mean, just like some sort of an access down along the side of the property to the building itself would be.
Really good points, and I mean, now come forward with as a future projects.
Yep.
Right, this is just, it would freeze a little bit.
So I'm just saying, what is
The
it?
project's about 700,000, the capital budget for next year. Yeah. For next year, so there's money there. That we put on there, like you all know that this is a one-shot deal, and it takes time to develop your land, but we can certainly have a more detailed budget prepared for next year, for the work that's going on next year, which we were planning on doing in 2024 budget.
Yeah, no, I guess what I'm saying is, while they have the equipment there, they're clearing the 22 acres, if that's what we decide tonight. I would not be against the idea of clearing, from the middle of that bottom square down to Highway 2, just a roadway down there, because I think it'll make it easier for them to also access that area as well, so.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, but I appreciate those comments. We do have an opportunity potentially to have another entrance to there, because we have all the land available in the POJ building over to the other building, and so there's definitely an area there that you can certainly easily connect to that area. If you wanted to, so.
And it was just a thought, like we said, you just said before, while the equipment's there, you know, might not be a bad idea to get a better access from it. That's all.
Go ahead, Mr. Snell.
Thanks to the chair to Steele. Looking at the picture, what I'm wondering is, there's no wetlands or it's not stopped anywhere in there. Sure, has anybody been in there to see what it was?
There's a few areas that are a little wet, that's becomes part of the drainage project, right? So we know that developing drainage, you know, right now, it's very hard to get around, walk around and so on. So that's why we want to get it cleared up. Then we go in and do our studies that we need to do. We just can't go ahead and what's going on there. We need to make sure we have a proper drainage plan.
So when you put the stone on, are you putting a base like 2 inch and then whatever, like, yeah.
So still looking for directions, from the committee, if we want to do the 8 acres, the 2 acres at the front and 6.2 at the back. If we accept this, quote on the 248.
I'm happy to move the recommendations.
I'm sorry,
I said I'm happy to move the recommendations.
okay, we got a second.
Just get it done.
Moved by Mr. Mayor, seconded by Mr. Martell. All in favor, we accept the quotation $248,503 and RW Thomas Unlimited. All in favor? Carried. Next one is 10I dock pavement rehab project, 32003, Robert again.
Thank you. So this is to award the continue with the rehabilitation of our riverfront dock, the original date made in 2014. We've done studies on this in my jump tech engineering. Based out of Ottawa, we did have an original estimate. At that point, due to business and so on, we weren't able to start projects actually in 2021. First phase, we did 12,710 square meters, and then 2022 followed up with an additional 5,300. And the third phase is in this budget in 2023 for an estimated 5,000 square meters. That's the dock. We also invested in this project on road paving, part of Master Deeds. The roads in bad shape, and it needs to be repaired. I don't know if anybody used it today when they left, but it's not in good shape. So what we did was we also started to we did have a grain grind area in that original budget in 2023, which we've taken out of this project. And the reason we took it out is because the back parking lot of Port of Johnstown does need to be repaved at some point, and it's better to have it all done at the same time. We talked, we had our site meeting and talked to favors, just to get the grade and everything right. It's a little bit of a mess over there. Sweeps are getting the project. We tendered the project, everything happened separate, but the total bit of the project was what the quote was. We separated it into the road and into the dock. We did that as business happens or something happens, we can't get out on the dock, do the project this year, we can still go ahead and do paving of the road. So that's why it was separated on the tender form so that we can separate that up. So again, the scope of the work is for 6,500 square meters in total, which is the road and a portion of the dock. They will do a new survey. We have been doing elevation. We always work with this pavers and then do start and elevations, so they know exactly where they're at. They come forward after that with a grading plan and get the grading proper, so that the water will take flow, the drains will be on, and at that point we determine what the total square footage is. That's why everything is a unit price contract. We're able to control how much paving we do at that point and keep the project within budget. We follow the procurement policy when item 50,000 and must be approved by the organizing committee. We received 3 bids, the first contract. Total amount included in the bid is based on estimated aggregate paving materials required. It do not include HST, and the total amount approved in 2022 capital budget is $450,000. We have our 3 quotes. And again, our Tomlinson, who was paving last year, were the lowest. The recommendation is that the Board Management Committee awards the 2023 paving project to RW Tomlinson in the amount of $350,395, excluding HST with a contingency of 15% for engineering and potential overuse incurred. That the Board General Manager and Mayor execute the contract on behalf of the Board of Trustees.
Thank you, Robert. Questions, comments on this, please? Mr. McCauley?
It's 10 years since the riverfront dock was completed. Do you expect that, or is it expected that the compaction and the soil consolidation is now complete, or are we likely to see more over the next 10 years?
We will still see some, but not to the degree that we did experience already. So the initial salt boiler, we spent a lot of years from 2014, 2021. Moving the salt from different locations on the dock to get that compaction as best we could in all those areas. However, I do expect there still be some. And just to make sure that we're all clear here, if you look at your original drawings in your package here, what they wanted to pay compared to what we're paving, we're paving way less than what they to get the perfect grade, you would be spending $2.5 million on a dock. What I've done is look at the low areas, the areas that, you know, where the salt goes. There's no use paving an area that's just a road if the road is fine. So we've taken a look at this with the engineer and we downsized the amount of paving, right, to do in order to take care of those worst areas. Because when the dock was designed, it was not designed with enough grade. It was only designed with 1% grade, which is very little. So to try to get this perfect, you just won't happen. The dock is so big, it's grading all the way from, you know, probably saw on the roof how big that dock actually is, and all of its grades. So what we try to do is get the low areas, get those taken care of, so the salt's not sitting in those low areas, and do the best we can on that. But to do it all perfect, we have to do the entire dock at once to get the grain perfect. We grade it to be perfect, and then you can still get some consolidation, you can still get some puddles. What we don't want a few puddles after the rain, but if it's sunny, they should be gone with half a day, they should be evaporated and gone. That's kind of
Any other thing, Mr. Mayor?
Looking at different diagram like the Google Earth, it is the areas that are being paved are the areas where the salt has compacted it over time. Yeah, so this will just bring it back up to grade. Yes. And the only other question I had is the 356 is the budget was 450, right? So we're under that. We're under that, or at least we believe that we're going to.
Correct.
Yeah.
Now, there's some items like when you start pulverizing the asphalt and so on, you can get soft spots on a dock where you have to take some of the soil out and get down to where, you know, and add stone to it and so on. So there's some little items like that can increase your cost. Engineering is in this price a year, so it's a little bit of cost, but we'll be able to.
Any more questions, people? Robert, I have one. We're doing the 1,500 square meters road in front of Master Thieves. And why are we doing the parking lot too? Who's responsible? They are?
There, and I met with them, and it's not in their budget, and it's up to them to take care of. They're using it. To me, it's like a consumable. After a while, you have to repair that. So I said, they're going to be here, you probably get a better price, but they were not interested in doing the parking lot, which really needs to be done.
Just doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
I mean, the only way to get it done is if we work the cost of the whole thing, and then when this is just potential, I'm speaking here, really, that when the lease comes up, that you would increase their We can only increase it so much, but we try to give some of your costs back.
I just have to.
You would add a lot more to, I have to measure it. Mr. Deputy Mayor, but you would add quite a bit to your costs.
Mhm. I just have a real,
I don't know, 50 to 100,000, I'd have to do some.
yeah, no, just doesn't make sense. We're doing that, roadway. And,
It's our property, we can do it,
yeah,
but I really don't think it should be more than by the board.
no, no. We don't buy their trucks either, so.
Through the chair, so on that, yeah, sorry, is there, so, let's just say that, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years down the road, they still don't do it. And they decide to move their business, are they not then liable for that, or is that not in the decent payment?
They're supposed to leave the property in the way that they found it. I do not have pictures of when they first moved it, but they would be fine on Google. They've been there a while. They've been there a while.
Yeah, no, that's fair, I just trying to figure out, like, if they don't bear the cost now, what happens down the road, that's awesome.
If it affected sports business or something where we think there was a liability or something, potentially we could go and say that we need to do this.
Mhm.
But to be honest, we should, and I'm going to do that again this year. We need to give them a heads up so when they go to the budget deliberations, they can discuss it. What he said to me, it's not in our budget, there's no way I'll get any money for that.
And yeah, we're not done paving this thing for the next few years as well, maybe a next year meeting as well, something about it, stuff, so. Okay.
Okay. We do have recommendation, people. Any questions? Recommendation that the Port Management Committee awards 2022 paving project 320-003 there W. Thompson Limited, in the amount of $356,895. In HST contingency of expense. Engineering potential over. Bridge. Carrier. Do I have a mover? Second. Moved by Mr. Ward, seconded by Mr. Smell, all in favor? Carry. We're on to 10J, electrical work for Ben optimization project 300-507. And Kevin, you're going to speak on that?
We have before you the electrical work within our main project. The project is automated 15 the bottom. So they can operate from the control room. The objective is to extend our loading hours on vessels. Get an additional great curve around to our launcher, including what you've done on that. And for the 40 minutes every time we stop for an hour lunch break and we stop for now I've been a break. Probably an hour 15 minutes. That's basically because we have the spouts one off the vessel. The captain of the spouts, one off the vessel. So in the case, they don't have to have a break for the time. Yeah, the spouts about love over that at the time. So if we keep going and be a little momentum. Just be honest, I can carry back with the work up the mic from the National Trade Quarter Fund, put up a new. Well, it's about what we need to make a commitment to how to reduce greenhouse gas. And when we do that, is get the bus a bit quicker, so we're not on the stuff island as much. So one of the things we're going to do, we put them in last year, and it reminds us that everybody's looking towards that target. The other thing is to kind of take a little bit of load off and that power, it's going to kind of on both, we're on the month short-handed. If you give us our receiving very challenging time, it's receiving product. And we're about at the same time. We've been able to make it work so hard, and again, getting out the big Irish line, people can learn to work, we have. We're looking to kind of times to possibly quickly. Two aspects of that, one is the merge, and the level is longer than they One of the grade negotiates the contract with Laker, to allow so many hours to mow. Once you start going over that, it's $1,800 an hour. And go out and sit there. That's a good call. So you have a couple of voters that are mindful of that and then keep that cost. We do the best we can with what we've got, and sometimes we run those full block of stuff. But the only plan is to burn without a building. So yeah, that's what we're trying to make sure we're making it more attractive. So we got more business coming with it. Really, what we're doing is trying to chase an opportunity to get more business to look for. Going to mountain south, last year there was 427,000 metric tons harvested. Before, 215,000 tons, it's still over 50%. If you stack another 5%, another 20,000 tons, it basically generates $200,000 in revenue. That's really what we're driving toward. When you get 10%, that gives us 400,000. Most things are achievable. It all depends on getting feet in and getting pilot. The other challenge we have harvest time is we'll have a vessel with lights. We have a vessel on the flip. The over owns it, if we could stop and exhaust that and take the Hamilton. He doesn't want to sit in idle. He's paying by the hour, like a cat, and he's running. But he'll send it to the Hamilton. He's going to have to wait 8 or 10 hours to get into this thing. You want to take away those opportunities by getting them a bit quicker. The plan will be to most on the day in the morning, or 1 or 2 in the morning. Have a couple of crews. And then the reduces our labor requirements of those 2 people the involved. The team then will give us with 250 tons, which is about 8 hours running at an average of 1,000 metric tons per hour. Well, that's what we're chasing. For the government, we're looking at greenhouse gas emissions for the port, we're increasing revenue, bringing more of that harvest coming towards the port. To that end, we get some contender, we got 5 bids on the work. Higher, the low bid, the 271. It's selling small like that, giving us a key component, that lot of specifications on the regulation switch to have no panel and motor. We have a problem with the motor, you have the power. The grain elevator has to be motor-proof, and basically the gap between the first side and bid is the exclusion of those switches. So it's about $100,000 for this price, which is a safety feature. Required by code, confirmed by our local USA inspector that needs to be. The price, you see the prices for industrial contract solutions will be then became a little bit. We haven't sprayed with them, they did a lot of the wearing, also the train filters you saw with the policy, they did got for that. Look, the code and for that. They've also been involved in the annex, last 2 days, 3 annexes have done with one also did the programming inside and HMI for the so we have good experience with them. They're very capable. There. No local guy in Q4. He's there, also a local guy, and I used to I think that's so this role, as I mentioned earlier, this will put the overall budget over 380,000 from the original plan of 600,000. So that's over the budget that's approved, and this is to go to council. I don't want to speak the procedure, and I'm not on, but I believe that the procedure. Overall, we're not going to, this does not push the capital budget for 2020 over. We have a couple of projects that will not be over this year, we mentioned earlier. And the GM mentioned will have numbers on what is expected to be spent this year.
Question, comments?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
You said that you're gonna start with 15 bins, and in the future, do you expect to extend that to more bins?
Yeah, the panels are actually being built for the project. The ability to take on up to 15. So we have these options on a very short.
That I have another question. Sorry.
You go right ahead.
So I know that automation is one of the key aspects to keep our Canada competitive. And especially in the agriculture field, because we had a meeting on that at work a few weeks ago, and do you know if there's any program available at the government for automation for the port? So I know you have the money on that. But if we can have, I don't know if you look after that, because I know the government is. It's giving some money for automation in agriculture. I know it's the port, but as you're related and work a lot with agriculture. So,
Yeah, at the present, I'm not aware of any individual program. We have been able to take advantage of that through the recent rental office in the past for automation, where they come up with a specific objective for each of their funding years. There may be funding available to the National Trade Board funding related to vessel opening. That is a possibility. That hasn't been investigated for this one. It is basically tied indirectly to the previous application for funding for the road spec.
Sure. So, thanks a lot, Kevin, by the way, that's a really good explanation, and so we unload on both sides, north and south, right, as far as the port goes. I see that there's some facilities on the northern side that just don't see it as the same, right, but we do unload over there.
Yeah, I'm going on the north side.
And so in the future, I think the point over there, there would be possibilities to do that side as well at some point with automated bids, or is that something be a much bigger project to do? I'm just trying to see to your point, it could be, it's a good thing to be able to have these ships turn over quickly. And I just wondered about the south, the north side there, an opportunity there might exist as well. I don't know if that's something that we've considered down the road, but and I know it's a little off topic to the question. It's just more with those extra 15 bids, would they be on the north side or the south side? We'd be doing those.
Actually, 15 bids actually be across the building. We're picking 600 ton tank to go across the building. The reason for that is we can all 4 conveyors, keeps all 4 scales charged, and we can run the only sprouts at full capacity. That's why we spread it out.
Okay, and then I mean, I'm assuming if media ship was going to be preload those in so we can know we can get unloaded quickly. Essentially, that would be everything from an operations perspective. So it sounds great. I mean, I know it's a little more expensive than we thought, but you know, that's unfortunately the reality we're facing with a lot of things these days. So thanks a lot. Appreciate the information. Mr. Collin.
I just want to say, I appreciate Kevin's comments in the sense that he talks about efficiency, talks about environmental, but you also focused on the revenue potential. And that's what I thought was a very important part of your presentation, is that it's more than just efficiency, more than just environmental. This is one of the things we can do to perhaps get a greater share of the harvest through Eastern Ontario. That was very good point.
Yeah, it's not last, like 2/3 anyway, before we get to 3/4, but.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is just one, and so the Grain Barrier Program is ACT, right? The Agricultural Clean Technology Program. There's another intake now, like starts July, or excuse me, June 1st till to June 30th. I don't know if we qualify, that's, you know, like you guys, but you know, when you speak to emissions reduction, that's exactly what it says adoption stream step 1 is for that. So I'm, you know, wondering if, you know, if there's a possibility maybe peek at it just to see if it makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
I have one, I just want to follow up on your. So I get this in my head. It's a rate of $1,800 an hour for the boat being there, right? As we're loading. How many hours does it take to load that ship the way we are doing it now?
We're doing it now.
Yeah,
Basically about 1,000 tons an hour. So we're on a load of 25,000 ton acre. I would take about 20 hours. Roughly, that's a little under. It's the traffic just slows down every time. We try every last beans on it. We can't take the came of the time I haul.
yeah,
So we're trying to stack it as full as I can get.
right. You're saying 20 hours now?
But 28.
28, so, okay, 28 hours, and if we go this route, what's it gonna cut it down to?
It's still be 28 hours, and it's gonna be, right now, we're only 8 till 10 p.m.
Right,
If we can extend the hours, then we're looking to get that vessel out by the second night, or the afternoon, the second day.
okay,
It was supposed to be available for the next one.
okay. Okay,
Oh, so, sorry, just to go back in, sorry.
Yeah.
So it's 28 hours of work, but that happens over the span of about 2 to 3 days potentially. And we can turn that into 2 days because it's an operation. Yeah.
recommendation is, any other comments, questions? We do have a recommendation now before I call that, you're saying we have the 600,000 and we're about, well, we're. Tonight's gonna be 374, so we might as well say 400. And we budget for 600 in for 2023, right? How long is this gonna take? So it's up and running? Because you also had another 400,000, 6 to 10 years from now. On that same project.
It will be, I haven't ordered the motors with gearboxes yet, they're fully delivery. Once the action is approved, the contract will be informed, get it wearing its parts on order. He's expected to be in July, when the motors arrive, it should be up and running by August.
Okay, so so this is maybe, oh, good, so that's only 3 months, so. It's a good turnaround time.
Yeah, we got to build the panel also through the software integration, there's integrated everything with the scale software we have now. The software is taken care of, the panel will be on site here in the next couple of weeks. But it's actually a fairly quick turnaround, it's very simple.
This isn't including the motors, though, right?
That's correct.
So the motors is on top of the 400,000.
Yeah.
Okay,
The motors are under 50,000, the gearbox is under 50,000, and the control is under 50,000, so we don't need to go over an RFP.
oh, okay,
All in the procurement.
right, okay, okay. All right, so the 350, so then 6 to 10 years, we don't need that 400,000. Right? Unless we want to expand that.
There was a kind of earmark there that, if you wanted to expand it,
Yeah,
they would have come to hard.
and which we probably will, yeah, makes sense. Okay.
It's just kind of a. That's an earmark, whatever.
Okay. Recommendation, people, Port Management Committee recommends the council award select a board with the Ben nomination project, 300 industrial contracting solutions. 374,165. Excluding HST, 15% contingency, need a mover. Moved by Mr. Smell and seconded by Mr. Ward. All in favor? Okay. Thank you, Kevin. Well done. And moving on. Can we have H, I, and J? No, I don't need it. We already moved it. That's good. Okay, we're on to K, 2022 audit financial statement. I have Robert and Rhonda. Rhonda, go ahead.
So the purpose to receive is having to approve the financial statements. That background in this is for Johnstown operates as a separate division of the township and has separate financial accounts. And therefore, it's own financial statements. The final pre-audited financial numbers were included in the 2022 year-end report and interpreted to the management committee at the court meeting January 18th. The financial position of the court must be audited and formally accepted by the court management committee. Court uses MNP LLP as a professional chartered accountants. Return the reference bylaw 2017-2 schedule A. For Johnstown Management Committee is as follows. The recommendation is that the court management committee receives and accepts and approves the auditor's report on the Port of Johnstown's financial statements as provided by MNP. And that the Port Management Committee recommends the council receives the auditor's report on the financial statements.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? On the audit and financial statement.
I do. And I'm not sure if it's to staff or to staff, I'm not sure which way to go. We have, so I don't have any problem with receiving this, accepting and approving it. I think we've done it that way in the past, but we haven't had a chance to actually have a meeting with the auditor. We don't have that until next Monday. So wouldn't, I guess my question to staff and most of it is, doesn't it make more sense? I know we have that meeting next week. Doesn't it make more sense to do the acceptance and the approval after we've actually talked with the auditor? I don't like, it just seems like it's before the horse, like
It's every year we kind of struggle with this a little bit in that it's been brought up before. Having come just to the board. To talk to, maybe just on the court financials, and that's been turned down every year. And no, we'll just wait and do the meeting with times, which one will be sort of everything's together. I totally understand what you said. I don't disagree with it. I don't know what ramifications are. I know that we have to have this approved in order to get our grain license. We have to get that out in June, I believe. So I don't think it hurts to wait until the 29th if you just want to receive it, and then you have some sort of approval mechanism at that point. Rebecca, does that make sense?
Through the chair, best practice at the council table, the recommendations are in. And resolutions have prepared all of the files for council to receive and approve these. So covered.
So. Yeah, so committee can receive it, review it today, but then ultimately council accepts it. And approves it, receives it, accepts it, and approves it on the 29th after meeting with the auditor. Then it seems to follow like the right steps.
In the past, the committee has approved it.
Through the chair, that's correct, the committee approved it, and then the following, or we get out later, council will get.
Right, that's been kind of practice.
It just seems, well, see, like, it just seems like strange to me. It seems like a strange, like, from a process standpoint, that it wouldn't be until after. I know you said that we've wanted that discussion, but I mean,
now through the chair to Rebecca, to the clerk. Do they normally, when they have their presentation or when the auditors come, like on the 29th, I don't think they go into the court details. Do they not talk about the whole?
Through the chair, there is the meetings for hours. And then that discussed further with the county board.
Right.
And then following that, there's delegation. Council. Meetings or any regular meeting from the public that it wants a summary of all of the consolidated.
Consolidated. So that there's never an opportunity for the committee to approve if we change it. This is the opportunity tonight because the committee obviously will be at council meeting.
well, and the point of, I guess, order would be that committee is council. The other members are not voting members now. Right, so they're still here to review, but they're not actually voting and reviewing. So that's a change. That's okay. That is a change. It is a change. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to make a motion to amend the recommendation. So that it just removes, accepts, and approves. In the first bullet.
So you're making a motion to just accept,
So receives.
receive and accept.
Receives and reviews, is that? See, nodding ahead, so I think I would switch, like, for my recommendation will be that. The new wording would be that Port Management Committee receives and reviews the auditor's report of Port of Johnstown financial statement as provided by MMPL.
Okay.
So So I need a second, though.
Did you get that?
I did, yeah.
Rebecca, thank you. Do I have a seconder? Mr. Smell,
We can discuss it.
you want to read that off? Yes.
Basically removing accepted to review.
Receiving review, the audit financial statement.
Let's see what the call. We have to have it for discussion on.
Any discussions? Yes, go ahead, Mr. Paul.
We had a question with respect to the package, and that is, if you look at what was just referenced, it doesn't reference the management letter. And I don't think the management letter should be a public document. The management letter should only be discussed in camera. Because the management letter, if you read through, it basically says, here's potentially where you could be defrauded. Or it talks potentially about individuals, and so I would think the management letter should not be released to the public. If you were dealing with a public corporation, and this isn't a public corporation, if you're dealing with a public corporation, the audited financials would be released to the shareholders, but the management letter would not. The management letter would remain with management. So what I'm suggesting is somehow, yes, it's good for us as the management committee to see the management letter, but I don't think it should ever be seen publicly.
What does that do now?
Yeah, I guess it is with the package. And I don't recall from the past seeing the management letter in this package. I could be wrong. But I was surprised to see it here.
Normally, we just do the same as what we did the year before, and you know, this saying that.
So has the management letter been in the past? Well, yeah. I'm surprised because the wrong person reading that management letter can take it in all kinds of directions.
Thank you, Mr. Butler. So we do have a motion. Any other discussion on this?
So it's an amendment.
For the amendment?
So, just
Go ahead.
one thing I did see, I guess, when I was looking at the, appendix A, I guess, summary of significant differences. I see that we had this page 75 of 100. We had this adjusted, to correct amortization of $858,000. So, does that basically, I mean, I didn't want to back and forth and try to figure out financial statements, and that's what we saw in the past, but so basically our net profit went up by 858,000 because we were taking that off, or is that not?
No, that's not that profit. The amortization of your equipment.
Sure, but that's an expense, right?
So it's
So,
actually worth more than what's reported. We amortize it twice.
no, I get that. We would have taken an amortization expense then, right? Would we not have done that? Is the transaction not, we take an amortization expense, it's not revenue overall at the end of the day? Am I reading that wrong or?
So through the chair, amortization is a balance sheet. I don't, okay.
It doesn't affect revenue, then, okay.
So it's the classification of the balance sheet.
Okay.
Answer your question.
Yeah, that's good. That's smart.
Any other questions? Comments on amendment? And I go for a vote. All in favor of amendment? On that amendment. Right,
So the vote should be on the amendment.
right. We're voting on the, yes, go ahead.
Chair, I believe the main motion to just our recommendations, the motion is down on the table, so you can do that as your regular motion. It's not a council at this point, so a resolution, I usually made the amendment, so it's a few very that amend to voting that was.
Okay,
Cleaned up.
okay, good. You don't need them. No. All in favor? Carry. Okay, number 11, approval of the disbursement. Right? Any questions on the disbursements? Any comments? Yeah. No questions, comments on the disbursements? We need motion on that? Need a motion to approve the disbursements. Moved by Mr. Martell, seconded by Mr. Ward. All in favor? Thank you. Number 12, council inquiries, notice in the motion. I just have one that was brought towards to me today. Guess we have new yellow pages out in our phone books, and we have a report of Prescott still in there. So, yeah. I had a phone call. Like a why? Well, I should have. So I'm not sure, but I'd like to, to the management's attention, and maybe see what happened there, if we can get it changed next year to be more adjusted. We won't be able to get it. I haven't seen it either, so I just. Must be Bell, yeah.
It's under Dawson, I just haven't seen it.
No, I don't. So released. Oh, you got your, okay, well, why do you got this? I never.
That's one very quick thing.
Yes, go ahead. Pardon the mayor, sorry.
And we have had, in the past, we've had, 4 days. And, it was a discussion on whether we were going to do, we weren't going to do one. I've been receiving a lot of questions and not a lot, but I've definitely been receiving comments and questions. I realized this may not be the year. But just an inward as to status report.
Yes, we would really appreciate it to defer to 2024. Just because how busy we are, and we're not quite sure on the steel, and that's basically our parking lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we would like to defer.
It's a good thing this year.
And start planning for it. Like
We discussed that last week.
Yeah, we were discussing that. We just, we can still do other tours. Yeah, we're still doing that. Our winners from the National Power Pack, we have the tour, the prize package, and we've got a photo of coming tomorrow. So we will do smaller tours if that helps. Bring something on Saturday, or something like that.
I just wanted to see if we're gonna have the day on the future. Okay, that was just, thank you.
Any other council inquiries? Motion. 2024 chairs report, court date, starts organizing in July 2024, so we were discussing that last week. Okay. Question period. Steve, any questions? None? Moving along. Anybody online? No? Okay, we're gonna have a 5-minute recess, and we're gonna go into.
We're gonna do that. We're gonna do this before. We're gonna go into the session then if I.
Okay. We're gonna go in, so closed session.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Waddy Ismail, the committee proceeds into closed session at 8:20 PM in order to address a matter pertaining to section 239 to the labor relations or employee negotiations, specifically collective bargaining update, minutes of closed session dated July 20th, 2022, and February 22nd, 2023, and March 20th, 2023.
All in favor?
We're closed. Now, 5 minutes.
5-minute recess.
It's me. So, okay, so moved by myself and seconded by Councilor Joe Martell. The committee reviewed and approves the closed session minutes.
We're coming out of closed session, the closed session meeting.
I don't have that. That's right.
The open session.
That's what I asked, that's why I asked that.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Waddy Snail, that the closed meeting of the committee does now adjourn and the open meeting does now resume. at 9:16 p.m.
Call the question. All in favor? Carried.
Okay, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Joe Martell, that committee reviewed and approves the closed session minutes dated July 20th, 2022, February 22nd, 2023, and March 20th, 2023.
All in favor? Carried. Coming out, moved by Mayor DeShants and seconded by Waddy Smell that the committee,
You just report it.
just
Not this. Just report it.
that the committee proceeds in closed session at 8:20. The section,
Committee met. To discuss.
the committee met to discuss section 239-2D labor relations and employees negotiation. Specifically collective bargaining update minutes of closed session dated July 20th, 2022, February 22nd, 2023, and March 20th, 2023. I need a mover to adjourn.
That is myself.
Good.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Joe Martell. The committee does now adjourn at 9:19 p.m.
All in favor, none. These are closed sessions.